Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have an instructive game to share with you from Linares, 1998. On the white end, Vasyl Ivanchuk playing against Vishy Anand. Okay, the opening we have here, Sicilian defense, and the variation is Richter-Rauzer. From here, e6, queen d2, pin broken, opposite sides castles game. f3, and from here we have knight captures knight. Now, if you start with a6, looking next to play b5, there's no guarantee you get to play with that structure. a6, there's knight captures knight. It's a different structure ahead. Black wants to ensure he establishes a pawn on b5, so first captures here on d4 and only then follows with a6. From here, h4 is played. If white is capturing on f6, black is going to recapture with the piece. Taking with the pawn, trying to hang on to this, not a good approach. Taking with the piece is the way to play it. Be prepared to play down a pawn. Queen a5 would be there. Pressure on c3 and a2. It likes black here, slightly. Rook d8 even, right around the corner, disconnect between the rooks. Ivanchuk, not interested in pawn hunting, launches the h-pawn. Here comes b5. Typical after queenside castles. King b1 it is. Queen c7, most natural square for this piece. h5, threatening h6, that would be too disruptive. h6 by black. Bishop h4, and bishop to b7. From here, knight e2 is played. If we revisit this capture here, once more it would be recaptured with the piece. And you could even play this position here without the queens, this pawn down position. Black has the bishop pair, very strong bishop here on e5. Holds up the queenside pawns, pressure on both wings. So there's compensation there. Once more, Ivanchuk not biting, going after the d6 pawn. It's a knight reposition. Rook c8, pressure on c2, defended. Last piece activated. From here, rook to e1. What's going on with rook to e1? I'll touch on that shortly. Let me throw this position to you as a pop quiz. How would you continue here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, the thematic central break in the Sicilian, d5, would be losing. Let's see why. If d5 is played, there's the response e5. And this pawn is poison. You'd have to work around the pawn. Here's the issue. If you capture the pawn, what we're going to see here is black's decision at this point is to swipe the pawn and end up cornered, literally, with the queen, or work around this pawn and give white a superior structure, a winning structure. Knight going to be planted on d4. Let's see what this cornered queen looks like. Queen takes e5 here. There's bishop g3. Watch how the minors here, these next few moves, would kick this queen to the corner. Queen g5, bishop f4, queen f5, knight d4, queen h7, bishop d3. If at the end of this line you're still saying to yourself, I'm okay being in the corner because I'm up a pawn, not a good mentality. This is not a 9-point queen. Okay. This is something that must be respected. This response to d5, e5. Now, I didn't touch on what the point behind rook e1 was. I didn't want to ruin my pop quiz. If the knight moves in this position, let's say to d4, this is where you can now play d5. d5 in this position, e5 is no longer a move because there is no longer this follow-up bishop g3. The knight is not supporting that move. Queen does not get kicked to the corner. What is rook e1 in this game here, rook e1, what is that setting up? Well, next, a knight move. So if I'm to make a passing move, let's say bishop just goes here, now the knight could go here, and in response to d5, white could play e5. Similar structure, superior structure here for white. So this is what white has an eye on. What is black's move in this game? What is the response to rook e1? Well, similar to when this pawn arrived on h5 threatening h6, black said, nope, your pawn has gone far enough. Now, this center pawn here is stopped cold. e5 first fixes this pawn, removes any thoughts of white playing e5, and now right around the corner for Anand is d5, and this position will be blown wide open for his better developed pieces. They're all poised to spring to life with one key pawn break, d5 next. At this stage, we have bishop captures knight, removing a key defender of this now weakened d5 square, and white tries to circle in to this point. Knight c3, bishop g5, queen d1, and from here, queen a5. Black, believe it or not, is already in a winning position. There is a possibility now for an exchange sacrifice on c3. White's move from here is knight d5. If some other move is played, let's say the queen defends the knight, this will run into trouble. There's b4, and then after the knight moves, let's say, to the center, there's b3, and there's a problem on these two squares, c2, a2, as well as e1. There's not a good response here for white. So that's not going to cut it, trying to hold up an exchange sacrifice idea on c3 with queen d3. If the knight moves to e2, that would weaken d5. d5 would then be there. One final note, let's actually see what this exchange sacrifice would look like, how devastating it would be. Let's say bishop d3 is there. This is what it would look like. Rook takes knight. And check out this. You could underdevelop the bishop, go to e6 next, and what would white's response be to this threat on a2? Good luck. There's no defending this. The queen would be the only piece that could try to defend this pawn in a couple moves. I had a look at this. It's not going to work out because in the end, look at this beast. Dark square problems. This one's going to be over shortly. So you need to respect this exchange sacrifice. The knight hops into this center square. Bishop captures knight. Pawn captures bishop. You can't take with the piece. Queen has a responsibility. Pawn captures bishop here. One more pop quiz. How would you improve your position from here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, I said that. I said how to improve the position. Well, we could do one better. It's more than just an improvement. This here is now a decisive shot. Did you spot this one? Rook captures c2. Okay, now what's going on? Before you could pull this move off, you have to recognize, for one, queen captures rook, faulty. It's going to lead to mate shortly. And after king captures rook, what's happening after king captures rook? There's only one good follow-up from there. Before I touch on that, let me just point out that if you decline capturing the rook, there's rook c1 there, threatening to just win the queen. Queen for the rook and bishop. So bishop d3, rook c1. It's king captures rook in this game, and now from this point, the follow-up is not to invite that last piece into the attack, as tempting as this might be. You land a check, the king is going to slip away. The move here, the follow-up, is queen takes a2. No safe haven now for the white king. no escape square on b1. Rook c8, only one move later. This is decisive. Rook sacrifice followed up with queen takes a2. These three pieces will be enough to swarm the white king. There is no defense here. Let's see what is tried. f4 targets the bishop, and opens up this f3 square for the king eventually. Okay, we get the check, another check, king f3, and after just one more move, rook c1, white resigns. If the game continued, what are white's options? If white tries some counterattack against the queen, rook e2, rook takes. If rook takes queen, forget about that. Black can first respond to this threat with a threat here to the king, and next up, win the queen. And if queen e2 is played here, we would yet again see queen c3 check. And there's a problem here on e1. What are you supposed to do? King to f2, there's more than one winning way, as you might expect from this position. This here seems cleanest to me. Bishop g3, check, forces an only move, and then you could win the material back, and it'll be more than that. Queen is hit, and there's going to be a problem shortly on these dark squares. White's going to have to give up the queen. Crushing tactical shot there with rook captures c2. At this moment right here, did you spot that one? Rook takes c2, followed up with queen captures a2. Beautiful game here by Anand. What are your thoughts with this one? Feel free, as usual, to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care. Bye.